Last night, Trump was bragging about how well he did on this cognitive test they gave him as part of his surprise physical. For whatever reason, fat Albert Einstein has been boasting that he would crush two House Democrats, two he does not like, AOC and Jasmine Crockett, both of whom he deems to be low IQ in an IQ test. And so I, quite generously, I think, offered to host a competition between them.
The rally crowd was roaring when Donald Trump leaned into the microphone and turned one number into a crown. He smiled, paused, and let the room wait for it. Then he said he had taken a test, not just any test, but a real test with doctors, and that he had scored an incredible 180. The crowd erupted because that was the story they had come to hear. Trump is the genius. Trump is the strongest mind in the room. Trump is the man whose brilliance could not be questioned. But outside that arena, the claim did not land the same way. It traveled into studios, newsrooms, and living rooms, and the question followed it everywhere. What test was he talking about? What did it actually measure? And why had a simple boast about intelligence sounded more like a man trying to protect an image than explain a fact? That night, Jimmy Kimmel walked onto his stage with a different look on his face. The audience expected jokes. They expected the usual rhythm, a sharp line, a laugh, another clip. But Kimmel did not rush. He stood under the lights, looked into the camera, and said Trump had made a claim so large that it deserved to be slowed down and examined.
Environmental excesses on the equipment, which don't do a damn thing except make it complicated, make it impractical. And you really have to be, in many cases, you need about 185 IQ to turn on a lawnmower. Now, so we're going to take that off, that crap off that they put on Biden mostly. And we're going to take that off. So that's going to make that'll bring down the equipment prices a lot.
Not shouted at, not laughed away, examined, the room quieted. Kimmel said the segment was not about mocking age. It was not about saying one test can define a human being. It was about honesty. It was about a man who had spent years calling himself a stable genius, questioning other people's intelligence, and treating his own mind like part of his political brand. If you build your public identity around being sharper than everyone else, Kimmel said, then the public has a right to ask what the record actually shows. Then the screen behind him changed. The rally clip played again. Trump claimed the test proved something extraordinary. The crowd cheered. The number echoed through the arena.
Think about it. Wouldn't it be amazing for you to show the world just how powerful that brain is? Let's make this the biggest television event of all time. We'll go live, coast to coast, Hollywood to the Mar-a-Lago omelet station. Show those losers what a winner you are. This is so much bigger than that lame little Nobel Prize necklace they give out.
Then Kimmel froze the frame and said quietly, "Here is the first problem. A cognitive screening is not an IQ test." The studio went still. That line changed everything, because suddenly the boast did not sound like proof of genius. It sounded like a story being stretched. Kimmel explained that the test being discussed was framed as a basic cognitive assessment, the kind of screening doctors use to check memory, attention, language, and simple thinking tasks. It was not designed to crown someone Einstein. It was not a contest of genius. It was not a golden ticket to intellectual immortality.
I think it could be bigger than the Super Bowl and Jake Paul fighting Dick Van Dyke combined. It could be very big. And all the credit goes to our Commander-in-Chief, Donald Trump, who strongly believes he would trounce two of his least favorite ladies in an IQ test.
Then Kimmel leaned forward and said, "So when a man turns a screening into a victory parade, the question is not how smart he is. The question is why he needs the parade." That was when the audience stopped laughing and started listening. The segment then presented what it described as the supposed results and notes from the test. Kimmel was careful with his words. He did not ask the audience to accept every dramatic claim as confirmed truth. He framed it as the story being pushed into the public conversation, and then asked the larger question.
They have Jasmine Crockett, a low IQ person. They have AOC's low IQ. You give her an IQ test, have her pass like the exams that I decided to take when I was at Walter Reed. Those are very hard, they're really aptitude tests, I guess, in a certain way, but they're cognitive tests. Let AOC go against Trump.
Why had Trump's own retelling become so inflated, so grand, and so impossible to separate from his ego? The screen showed examples from the assessment, as the segment described them: animal naming, memory words, a clock drawing, simple tasks that were never meant to measure greatness, only function. Kimmel did not need to overplay it. The power of the moment came from the contrast between the giant rally boast and the plain nature of the test itself. A man had told a crowd he scored like a genius. The paper being discussed suggested something much smaller. A routine screening turned into mythology.
Almost always they seem to go along with me because they know I'm working hard. I have a nice high IQ, and they like that, you know. We like high IQ people. But they know I make good decisions. That's why we have that Trump was right about everything, right?
Kimmel paused, then said, "The score is not the scandal. The story is the scandal." The audience reacted slowly, then with applause. That line landed because it made the point clear. Nobody should be reduced to one test. Nobody's entire worth is measured by a few minutes in a doctor's office. But leadership is different. When a president or candidate takes a medical-sounding result and sells it to the country as proof of unmatched brilliance, the public is not being petty when it asks for accuracy. It is asking for trust. For older Americans watching at home, the moment carried a deeper weight. They have seen presidents age under pressure. They have watched leaders face war, recession, grief, scandal, and national fear. They know the office tests a person in ways no worksheet ever could. But they also know that strength is not proven by pretending every question is an attack. Strength is proven by clarity, by honesty, by the willingness to tell the country the truth, even when the truth is less flattering than the applause line. The studio was silent again. Then Kimmel delivered the line that froze the room. "A confident man does not need to inflate a test. A serious man explains what it was." That sentence cut through the whole performance. In the end, the most damaging thing was not the paper on the screen. It was the question Kimmel left behind. If the story is true, why does it need so much decoration? If the result was ordinary, why call it genius? And if a man cannot be honest about a simple test, how can the country trust him with the harder ones? Because leadership is not measured by the number a man claims under rally lights. It is measured by whether his words can survive when the lights get brighter, the room gets quieter, and someone finally asks what the test actually said.